make me sweat, make me harder, boom, boom, make me lose my breath, make me water.
A few moments later.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Guess I gotta hit him with the update. Really with it, I ain't got a pump fake. Killer flow and hit him with the one take.
All right, guys, I had to sing the intro, okay? Because I can't play the song because of copyrights, clearly. So you had me sing the intro, all right? I love Water by Tyla. I love it. I love it. And honestly, I love her album. Well, I'm not going to say I love her album, but I love some of the songs that they clearly have made handpicked singles for her off that album. We know, I know everybody thinks Tyla is an industry plant, and honestly, she probably is. But I don't care because to me, she just kind of reminds me of like, this is my coffee drink, and I really need it. But she kind of reminds me of Cardi B back in the day with Invasion of Privacy. Like, was every song just like so stellar? No, it wasn't. But, you know, when you have the machine behind you, which is the machine of a record label behind you, success is kind of inevitable. So I know everyone's like, where did this girl come from? She just popped up out of nowhere, won a Grammy. And yeah, she really did pop up out of nowhere and win a Grammy. But I'm not going to take away from the fact that I do think she's highly talented. She looks good. She can sing. You know, she can do a little... I think I did a little bit better. And she can dance, and she's got producers in a studio making some bops for her. But I'm not here to sing Tyla's praises. I'm talking about Tyla because she has recently been in the media off of her comment of, you know, I ain't black, okay? And people are upset, all right? The girls are mad and upset that Tyla does not see herself as a black woman. She is I'm a colored girl. Whatever her accent, her South African accent, I can't do it, but she considers herself to be a colored girl. And people were like, oh, what, huh? And at first I was a little off put by it too. Like, girl, what you talking about colored? Like, what year do you think we're in? And then it hit me and went, ding, duh, Chris. Tyla is from a whole nother country. She's from South Africa. And that is how they classify people as colored. So let's talk about Tyla and her recent interview with the Breakfast Club that caused this uproar.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview, too.
Shut up, man.
I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's even better.
All right, so Tyla just did a interview with the Breakfast Club, and we have Charlemagne the God asking her or bringing up the past statement that she made where she basically said like, oh, I don't really consider myself black. I consider myself colored. And that caused an uproar a couple months ago when people heard that. And it just didn't sit well with people. They didn't understand it. And she never elaborated on it anymore. So Charlemagne was bringing that up in the interview. Now, the clip is a little viral because homegirl said, no, not today. Y'all aren't going to catch me slipping. So he asked her to clarify her statement between, you know, colored and being a black woman. And she didn't answer it. And she looked over to her publicist like, I guess that they know that is a, you know, blacklisted question. And the publicist, you can hear the publicist in the back saying like, no, we're not, you know, next question, please. And that is what made this clip go big because, you know, it was very clear she didn't want to answer that. And I understand why. They want to act like that never happened. But since she wasn't very eloquent in her response to that question, and I say eloquent, which is she's young, she's a new artist, and I think they have a lot more tailoring to do with her, but all she had to do was say, hey, well, I'm not, like, Charlamagne, I'm not even gonna go over there with you. Next question, and just keep going. Instead, she just kind of made it a little awkward, like, oh, like a little kid, like, Mom, am I supposed to answer that? And that is why, you know, it's kind of gone viral. But later, she actually came out and made a statement just because the clip was going viral. So let's read Tyla's statement, or her publicist made a statement on Twitter. It says, "Yo guys, never denied my blackness. I don't know where that came from. I'm mixed with Black, Zulu, Irish, Mauritian, Indian, and colored. In South Africa, I would be classified as a colored woman. In other places, I would be classified as a Black woman. Race is classified differently in different parts of the world. I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone not comfortable doing so, because I understand the weight of that word outside of South Africa. But to close this conversation, I'm both colored in South Africa and a Black woman. As a woman for the culture, it's and not or. With that being said, Asambi." What? As a woman for the culture, it's and not or. Okay, anyway, I don't know what she's saying. So I think that statement really sums it up. And a lot of people are looking for, you know, a discourse about Tyla and her classifying herself as colored. And like, honestly, it's really simple to me. I think, okay. So the word colored, it clearly has a weird connotation with us Black Americans, because it reminds me of the Jim Crow era back in the day, you know, whites only, coloreds. Yeah, I don't like that word either. I really don't. And honestly, I don't even like it when people say I'm a woman of color. I don't know where they started that from. Like, I never joined that bandwagon where you have people being like, and they say it in politics a lot, like, as a person of color. Like, that's just way too 1950 segregation for me. Like, I'm not colored, you know. I'm Black. I'm okay with saying I'm Black. I'm okay with saying I'm African American. I'm okay with saying I'm a Black woman, but don't call me colored. Don't like it, especially with the history that we have here in America over that word. But I don't understand why everybody's so mad that Tyla says she's colored, because yes, she is. That is probably what is on her identification in South Africa. And I think we forget that the apartheid in South Africa was not that long ago, where Blacks were considered, or excuse me, not Blacks, but Africans, real Africans, not white South Africans, were considered colored. And they were in apartheid and treated like second-class citizens and had different rules and laws for the coloreds. And that's still, there's a lot of that still resonates today in South Africa. And I'm not a South African scholar. I don't know a lot about the history, but what I do know is that they still have racial issues and tensions just like we do here in America. And for them, they use that word to identify Black Africans and anyone with a mixed race mixture. If you're not white in South Africa, you were classified as colored.
But in South Africa, because you had a situation where 6% of the population was in power, and they were trying to control the remaining 94%. How do you go about doing that? That's a Herculean task. In America, you had the one-drop rule. So if you were a person who had a drop of Black blood in you, you were Black. In South Africa, they couldn't allow the same metric, because that meant you would now be a Black person who is added to the majority, and the majority increasing was not something they wanted. So instead, what they set out to do was, they said if you were a person who was Black, and then you were also half white, they would then recategorize you as a new race, and that race they called colored.
She sees herself as a colored woman. And not for nothing, I think it's okay, even if she was not in South Africa, right? And where the word colored is used to describe her. It's okay for her to say, I'm not Black. Like, it's okay. And I don't understand why Black Americans, we get so hung up on, like, you gotta say you're Black, you gotta say you're Black. Like, if you have a tint of brown, you're Black, you're Black. You know, no one has to do that. And we have adopted the one drop rule, and I thought we were starting to phase it out, but it's clear we haven't. If you are mixed, which a lot of people are nowadays, especially in the Black community, you have a lot of biracials. It's okay for them to say, no, I'm biracial, I'm mixed. Like, they truly have, like, they have a whole Black side and they have a whole white side. And I don't understand why we browbeat them into saying that they're Black. But in Tyla's view, like she said, I'm mixed with Black. I'm African, I'm Indian, Irish, Zulu. I mean, she got tribes up in there. I don't know what Zulu is. So yes, she's just not Black. So why are you going to bully her to say, oh, you're a Black woman, you're a Black woman, when she's really not? And another point that I want to bring up with, you know, it doesn't help us Black Americans to make Tyla say she's Black, because remember, it really comes down to, we have to keep in mind and be strategic about things. No one likes it when I say Black people need to be strategic about it, about certain things, but it does not help your if you are, for example, you know, a Black woman or a Black man, unambiguous, you know, right, features, hair, skin color, having Tyla represent you as a Black woman may not be benefiting you. It would be weird if remember when Simone Biles said that she wanted Zendaya to play her in her autobiography movie, and people were like, oh, bitch, what? And I agree with that. You know, I was even like, girl, you know Zendaya don't look nothing like you. And it did play off to a little bit of maybe some inner insecurities that Simone Biles had, because she wanted Zendaya, who is a biracial girl with light features, European features and hair, to play her in an autobiography pic or film. And it just makes no sense at all. So you don't want to erase your image, because if you do that, like we complain about makeup companies not making foundation shades for us. So we're definitely not helping our plight if we are making a biracial woman the face of Blackness. Well, they're going to go, okay, well, we don't need to make any darker shades then, because you guys identify with this girl, you know, and that's not fair. That's not fair. You know, if you want to identify with a light-skinned, curly-headed person, that's fine. Do you, boo, but I don't. And other people don't either. So, you know, like, just keep in mind, be strategic about who you want to be Black, who you want to be Blackity Black, because they could end up erasing, you know, the image of an unambiguous Black person. And I don't think that is what we want. I really don't think that's what we want. With Tyla, it's not that deep, okay? She's running around, bouncing her little booty to, you know, Afro beats, creating songs. She's living the life that she's living under the lens and frame that she knows only. And bullying her ain't gonna cut it. You know, bullying her to make her see the world through our lens and in our frame, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. So those are my quick final thoughts on Tyla. And really that whole topic on its own. If someone, you know, wants to say they're mixed, then they're mixed. That's fine, you know. If someone's mixed and say that they're Black, okay, then they're identifying as, you know, Black. Cool for you. At the end of the day, remember, race, ethnicity, it has nothing to do with the productivity that you can bring in the world. So Tyla, her productivity is making some beats and some bangers in the studio. So drop another one, girl. You know, like, why are we talking about what admixture you are? Drop another song. I could care less. So just remember that. All right. Guys, thank you for listening to me rant and rave about the foolishness and debauchery of our world. And I will see you all on the next video. Bye. Then